Hey guys, we are back with Chris and Michele Rider again. Ran out of daylight the last time. If you have not seen that video, you need to go back and watch that. It's going to be a two-part series. Make sure that you go back and watch that one before you actually go to this one. I'll have a link in the bottom that you can actually click on it and take you straight back to it. But anyway, and of course Kim's with us again.
I'm super excited about this to hear the rest of the story.
Yeah, we got to hear the rest of this. But
and all the antidotes.
So you bought a farm.
Come on.
Yep. We were gonna buy a cabin to force us to visit Michigan. We wanted to get a little bit, let our kids meet their grandma and grandparents, and well, we got looking and we found a farm that we just fell in love with, and I think 3 months later we had a farm.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
pretty great. I mean, big, huge barns and a beautiful setting. Just $1 million setting, really. We were in a little valley. It was called Happy Valley, but we won't go into why. And, you know, the kids had chores. We had turkeys, we had steer, we had chickens, goats. And, you know, one morning we're like out in the driveway having our cup of coffee, beautiful sunrise. And we're just loving where we're at. And then 2 steer just go zooming by us. And Chris is like, "Get behind the truck! Get behind the truck!" And because the man gate got left open, so the steer got out, and when they saw us come out, they were like, "Okay, it's time to eat." And it was like, zoom, and then they came back, zoom. So we were both kind of hiding with our coffee behind the truck until we figured out what to do. But
It was typical how we did things, though. We started the farm and the animals, and we had no clue what we were doing. You know, we'd never raised a chicken before, and I
Back
didn't know
to
the difference between a meat
encyclopedias.
chicken or an egg chicken, and so there was some humorous times. Our first batch of meat chickens, we lost half of them.
Oh
And they were big. They were more like turkey. We fed
they
them
were
too
the
much.
size of turkeys.
no. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Biggest chickens I've ever seen.
But what a
Guys,
great way for the kids to grow up. I mean, they loved it. They had their
And here in
chores.
Michigan, right? It's such a beautiful area anyway.
Yeah, and the fall colors.
Oh.
And yeah.
Yeah. So were you close to? Because I know we're in Mackinac City, so we're in Michigan.
We were in Gaylord, Michigan, so
Gaylord,
it's just about an hour south. And you know, everyone knows in Michigan, you show your hand, and Gaylord is right about there.
No, that's Saginaw.
Right about there.
Gaylord's up here, honey.
Right where the knuckles are.
That's Buddington.
That's too funny.
Just kidding.
So what possessed you to buy the farm? Just
Uh,
you liked it?
It was a good
Yeah,
deal.
we liked it, and
It was beautiful.
when we saw it, we never really set out saying, "Oh my gosh, we want to buy a farm." We just saw this farm and said, "Oh, that's kind of a cool life. Let's try that." And I was flying back and forth from Alaska. They would stay at the farm in the summertime. So, and, yeah, that got pretty expensive. And there was a lot of time on the plane.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I had the honey-do list while he would go back and work. I'm sure I worked harder than he did.
Yeah, I would leave a
You know,
nice
I'd
list
be
of
up on a
things.
ladder,
But it was an older farmhouse.
power washing the barns, and
It was an older farmhouse that we completely repainted it all. And
Oh, wow.
did a lot of work to it.
That's cool.
Nice.
And then we decided, well, let's just move back to Michigan full time. We sold our house in Alaska and the business and put everything we owned into a container that went by boat and train and truck. It took a month to get our stuff.
A month from
A
Alaska.
month. And in hindsight, we probably could have just sold it all and
Just started again.
started again.
Neighbors are going by, just let you know.
So as our kids got older, one thing we liked, especially about Northern Michigan, is the schools are really good. I mean, it's a place that tradition, last day, seniors, they all ride their tractors to
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh
so
my
it tells
gosh,
you
that's
what kind
too
of an
fun.
area it was.
Yeah.
You know, good families.
So a rural area,
Yep.
pretty much. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's cool.
And
It's the best place to grow up, if you ask me.
Yeah.
then all of our kids graduated from high school, and there went our cheap farm labor.
Really cheap farm labor.
It went from, kids, I want these chickens watered every morning, to, hey, Michelle, I don't think I've given the chickens water in a couple days. So we had to figure all that out, how to do it on our own.
Oh gosh, right?
So did you end up selling all the stores then in Alaska at the same time that you get rid of the
Yeah.
house then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then you basically
Started all anew.
Yeah, just started over.
Yeah.
So how long did you have the farmhouse for?
12 years.
12 years?
Okay.
So you were in Alaska for 10 years?
We were in Alaska for 19.
19 years.
Yeah.
See, I was totally off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
19
then we bought
years.
our house, and we had it 2 years before we left Alaska, so
Okay.
another 10 years.
Okay. So when you got to Michigan and got on the farm and stuff, what'd you end up doing as far as whatever career, whatever you want, it would only be career, job, whatever.
Right, we had a woodworking business. We also did farmers market
Did you?
stuff. We sold a lot of woodworking stuff there. And,
Nice.
yeah, it was a lot of work, but
And veggies and
eggs.
more of the woodworking stuff. But we had great gardens. You know, but the farmers markets, it's like farmers take their stuff, and you know that's they're making their money that way.
Right.
So
Well, we got to say, there's real farmers markets here. That's one thing that we have noticed.
yeah,
Right.
we,
And a lot of them would allow us to sell woodworking stuff there. And,
we
Right.
did a lot of those,
Okay.
and the veggies, like you had to have veggies also. So and eggs, you know, I just put higher prices on all of my consumables.
Right.
Just so I wasn't competing with everybody, but we would always sell out of all of our vegetables.
I think when we first bought the farm, we decided around that time that we're going to do things that we enjoy doing.
Right.
You know, we weren't busting our rears for somebody else.
It was fun. Yeah.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, I guess.
So is that what you guys did? Was farmers markets? You did the farm and farmers markets?
And craft shows,
And
those
craft
kinds of
shows,
things. Yep.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Yep.
That's really cool. We've talked about that at one time.
You meet so many interesting people. I mean, and you hear so many great stories
Right.
about how, you know, they're doing the corporate thing like we did, and they just have an idea, well, let's do this, and, you know, so they travel all around the country and
Sounds
make
like
their own, you know, sell their product
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
instead of pushing somebody else.
It's like the RVing community, you know, the farmers market. There's a bunch of like-minded people doing the same thing. So
Right.
you're meeting people that
Right.
are doing what you're doing.
Oh, cool.
Well, I guess that's what we've noticed. A lot of people a lot of people that we've encountered doing this are getting away from corporate. You know, a lot of them have done corporate, they did the thing, they tried to keep up with the Smiths next door and everything else, and it's just like a never-ending circle that you get caught up in. And that's what I think that's what we've noticed the most with talking to everybody. And of course I talk to everybody and find out, because I like to hear the stories and the similarities between them.
We actually kind of were headed that way back with our personal business. And you know, after a couple of long Michigan winters with all the snow, we started talking about, well, it would be so great to be able to get away for the winter.
Right.
So we just started kind of batting that around and talking about it. And
Do we buy a cabin down south? Do we move down south? Do we, you know? one thing we decided was we do not want a Class A motorhome. It's going to be way too big.
Yeah.
It's not something we would even consider. I mean, we actually had those conversations.
Right.
Somehow that morphed into, we got to get a Class A motorhome. That's the way to do it.
So this all occurred after the kids had graduated
Yep.
and all of that. So how many years had it?
I would
Was it
say
between?
after just maybe a couple years, we started thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was about 4 or 5 years after the last one graduated.
That we went all in.
And now you got the 3 kids,
Yep,
and it's the two girls and 1 boy.
yep.
Okay. Okay. And they're like
It's hard to think of them as 2 girls and 1 boy when they're 30
Yeah.
years old for the oldest, and our son is 24 and our
Yeah.
daughter's 22, 23.
Yeah,
And his families.
I still call them my kids.
Right.
Like, you know, but this is part of it. But so when you decided to do the not the fifth wheel, but the camping, you know, the full time, did you end up selling? You sold the farm then, or?
Yep.
Yep, and we had it all planned out. We had been looking for an RV, and
Not.
we didn't want to
because-
have a long one to pay it all out, so we weren't looking at a brand new RV. But we had to time it all. When we sell our house, we have to have somewhere to move. We didn't want to get an apartment or anything
It
like
was
that.
boom, boom, boom. It was so fast.
Yeah, the day after we closed on the house, we went and picked up the RV, and
Oh wow.
yeah, we had 2 weeks to move out.
So we actually started living in the RV in the driveway. Because, you know, it's so much easier to move out of a place and clean things as you go when you're not, all your
Trying to
stuff's
live.
not in there.
That sounds familiar.
One
But we
advantage.
just loved it. I mean, we were so excited.
And one advantage we had was we had a camper years earlier with the kids, so you know we knew how to dump the black tank, and that wasn't going to be a big worry for us, and which it isn't a worry.
Didn't have that learning curve, basically.
We didn't
Most
need to
people
go
do.
through that again, yeah. But driving a Class A rig, I mean, that's something you just get in and you're an expert at, you know.
Right. What were you thinking about getting if you? I mean, because you said you ended up with Class
Like a
A.
fifth wheel or a you know camper. With the Class A, you have to tow a car with you,
Right.
or drive a car with you. We've done both.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of conversations and there was a lot of research. We did a lot of looking online and at lots, pros and cons. There
Yeah.
were a lot of conversations before we actually said, yeah, let's go for the Class A.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we did. It's just a beautiful way to travel.
We like sitting up high and
Yeah,
seeing
it's
when you're
like-
going through the mountains.
I don't know, it's just amazing.
And it really isn't hard to drive. And I think you told me before you've driven
Yeah.
a Class A.
Yep.
It's a great way to travel.
It's like you're sitting in your living room with these huge picture windows going down the road. It's a little mind-boggling at first
Right.
because you're just like, you see it all. You see everything. And you're in this comfy chair and it like goes back and it has these comfy armrests and
You have to go to the bathroom. You're just right there.
Right.
You're thirsty. It's just right there.
Right. We also did a lot of research on, well, okay, we're not retirement age yet. We're gonna probably still have to work. We
Yeah.
have to have some kind of an income, and what do we want to work? What is work camping? You know, what's all that about? And we just went on YouTube and started looking and found.
Well, I mean, I know there's people, because you were doing the farmers markets with the wood crafts and stuff like that. There's actually people that live in their RVs or whatever and go around to different festivals and craft shows
Right.
and sell stuff too.
And
Right.
we've talked about like maybe, you know, down the road coming up with something fun that we both like doing and doing that again.
That we can work on inside the RV or
Right.
outside. You know,
But
it
the-
would be hard to haul woodworking equipment around. You know, so
Right.
Something else, but the work camping thing is really fun.
I said, was it what you expected?
It was better.
It's better,
That's
way
what-
better.
Yeah, we kind of.
So is this the first? This is not
our
the first.
It's our
spot.
second.
This is your
So
second.
Yeah,
I
second
worked in Florida over the winter at a RV park, over 55 RV park. So
Okay.
we just barely made it. But
So you have to be 55 to work there.
Yeah.
I don't know how that works. They never really asked, and I wasn't.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but so this is the second one. We work hard, and but you just meet like-minded people. And it's just been a really good experience
Sure.
for us.
Well, that's what we talked about. That it's just so much more. I don't want to say laid back. Like you said, we work hard, but it's not like you're going and hitting a clock in a corporate job. You actually, when you leave, you go home, you sit around the fire with, have a toddy, whatever you
Yeah.
want to do.
Right.
It's just so much more laid
It's a
back that way.
community.
Yeah,
It's a
it is.
family, really.
It is a family.
It's
It's
a
an extended
family.
Yeah.
And it's weird
great.
that I spent my whole career trying to gain more responsibility and more,
Mhm.
and we kind of chuckle now that we really don't want a whole lot of responsibility. We want to enjoy what we're doing, and
Yeah.
And enjoy
we
life.
don't need a ton of money. Maybe someday that'll change, and we'll want to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. Hi, sweetheart.
And there's Lucy.
Lucy says, I'm going to
Lucy,
get in
come
on
back
this.
and see again.
All right,
Come on.
Lucy,
I
go
know.
lay down.
Go lay down.
Come on, go get in your bed. Good girl.
It's dinner time, so she keeps telling everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Go lay down. Go on.
Go lay down. We're gonna have to edit you out.
It's all good.
No, I'll probably leave her, and she's part of the family.
Lucy, go lay down. Go on. Go lay down.
Was it
Lay
a
down.
hard decision for you guys to
No.
leave the sticks and bricks
No.
to the RV?
Not
You were
at
just
all.
kind of done with the winters and just ready for another adventure.
Well,
Right.
we've talked about that over the years that in our
When we
we've been-
retired, we were
We've been
going
together
to do
39 years, and it's like every 7 to 10 years, and we didn't really realize it, but when we were talking about this, we were like, well, look, we made this change, and look what we did. We went there, and then,
Every 7 to 10 years, it turns out, we do a big change.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so it was like, just, okay, this is what we're doing next. And it's all in. It's both feet in, and
Yep.
there hasn't, I don't think, been a real learning curve.
I think we talk things over together, and it just morphs into whatever it morphs in.
Well, it's kind of cool that you guys have a lot of the same mindset as far as, jumping into something. Because I know she's more reserved than what I am. I was always the bigger risk taker. But it was ironic that she was the one that actually suggested to us that let's go ahead and just do it. And I looked at her, I was like, really?
I guess he's rubbed off on you.
Apparently,
Yeah.
after this many
Right.
years.
And there's something that makes you just take that step.
Yeah.
I had a very good friend of mine, when I told him we bought our RV and we sold our house and we're going full time, he says, I know so many people that are going to do that, but you guys are the first ones that I know that actually did.
Yeah.
And because he wants to do it too,
We hear a lot of I wished I could do that,
Yeah.
Right.
is what we hear all the time. And it's like, after a while, it's like, you can do it. You just got to figure out a way to do it. Now, you're not going to keep the 5,000 square foot house and everything else to do it.
Right.
Right.
But,
You have to make
you just gotta
sacrifices
exactly.
and
Right. And we probably will have some other tricks up our sleeve here
Oh, yeah.
going forward. Maybe we won't be, I don't know, maybe we'll move to another country or something.
oh
Probably
my
not.
Lord.
I didn't tell you about that idea.
Well, let's see. You have to be in this
No,
for
we
17
still have 8
years.
more years on this
Come on
one
now.
before we even start.
That's funny.
But we would like
I'm
to.
content.
We would like to work camp around the country and try different areas.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's why people do this anyway, to see the country and stuff. I mean, let's face it, when you're working and you have a house and you're paying the rent or the mortgage or whatever, it's harder to go and see.
It is. I mean,
And when you go on vacation, you're there a week maybe,
right.
and then,
And then you need a vacation
from
because
your
you-
vacation.
Right. And as far as the work goes, if you're a hard worker, right now in the country, you'll find work.
Right.
RV resorts
Yep.
and RV towns. You know, maybe you're not working at a resort, but there's plenty of seasonal work. Maybe
sure.
you're not going to get rich doing it. You know,
No.
I don't think anybody's doing this lifestyle to become
Right,
rich.
but I mean, we have a place on Lake Michigan in the summer.
Right.
Exactly.
You're
Come
not
visit.
getting financially rich, but the
But,
experiences
Yeah,
that you get.
I mean, the beauty
It's
of
such
it
a
is
huge
just
fulfillment.
amazing.
Yeah. It totally is.
Well, and like you said, the people that you meet, you know, that's, you know, how many nights we've sat out here until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning talking. You know, it's just, you know,
Right.
it's kind of cool to hear, you know, to get to talk to other people and find out backgrounds and all that stuff, and
Right.
you know,
And it's amazing how quickly we bond.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
And a
It's
lot of people,
lifelong,
a lot of
you
people
know?
don't know their neighbors. You know?
Exactly.
We
Oh, and the
spend-
sticks and bricks. Yeah, you
We
don't.
spend a lot of evenings with our neighbors every week. You
Mhm.
know?
well, and that's what we talked about that when we were in the sticks in Colorado. Even people would actually, you'd see them leave in the morning. The garage door would go up. They'd pull out. They'd go to work. Then all of a sudden at 4 or 5 o'clock, you'd see the garage door open. They'd pull in. They'd just go inside. You would never see them. I didn't know half their names, anything.
Right.
And within the first 2 weeks of doing this, you know, we all of a sudden, you know, needless to say, we got, you know, the Jameses and all, you know,
Yeah.
just start talking, and next thing you know, it's a Thursday night safety meetings, and you
Right.
know, by a fire, and just, you know, it's cool.
Right.
It is.
You
It's
got people
enjoyable.
stalking you down to Bama.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, that's hilarious. Talking to you. Come on, stalk away. No. So, I mean, you work 5 days a week, and then you have your couple of days off. I mean, like we do, we go and explore the area, and that's kind of how. I mean, we talked about it. Because you know, we've watched YouTubers, and they're in a place for a week, and then they move on, and they're just fast paced. But they don't get to see as much in
Exactly.
the area. Even though we've been here for several months now, there's still a ton that we've not gotten to see.
Right. We've been doing a lot of hiking, and Pigeon River Forest, which is just south of here, they had a 75-mile trail loop, so we
Right.
hiked that, section hiked it this summer, and we were able to complete the whole 75 miles.
See, there you go.
And you wouldn't be able to do that if you were just here for a week.
No, exactly. There's things. I mean, I guess you could if you wanted to.
Right.
But
Well,
that's
most-
all you would do.
Right.
Well, and most of the time you don't know that it's here.
Right.
Because you're moving so quick. At least, you know, it was an advantage to having you guys being from here to be able to say, you know, well, you need to go see this and see this and see this. But even, you know, other places, you're there long enough that you get to know the locals, that, you know, even if it's an eating joint, you know, that
Right.
this is where the locals go, you know,
Right.
stuff like that. That's what we always thought was the, you know, best part about the whole thing.
Right.
And you meet so many interesting and
Yeah,
neat people. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
So many stories.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yep.